Okay, this is the second part of the day. Chapters 36 through 37. Uh, 36 through 37. And we're just going to start out. God bless. I hope you guys are having a good day. Then wrought Bazil and Aholiab, and every wise-hearted man in whom the Lord had put wisdom and understanding, knowing how to work all manner of work for the service of the sanctuary, according to all that the Lord had commanded. And Moses called Bezalel and Aholiab and every wise-hearted man in whose heart the Lord was put wisdom, even every one whose heart stirred up to come to the work of the Lord, to do it. And they received Moses all the offering which the children of Israel had brought for the work of the service of the sanctuary, to make it withal. And they brought yet unto him a free offering. They brought unto him free offerings every morning. And all the wise men that wrought all the work of the sanctuary came every man from his work which they made. And they spake unto Moses, saying, The people bring much more than enough for the service of the work which the Lord commanded to make. And Moses gave commandment that they caused it to be proclaimed throughout the camp, saying, Let neither man nor woman make any more work for the offering of the sanctuary. So the people were restrained from bringing, for the stuff they had was already sufficient for all the work to make it, and too much. And every wise-hearted man among them wrought the work of the tabernacle, made 10 curtains of fine twined linen, and blue and purple and scarlet, with cherubims of cunning work made he them. The length of one curtain was 28 cubits, and the breadth of one curtain was 4 cubits. And the curtains were all of one size. And he coupled the 5 curtains one unto another, and the other 5 curtains he coupled one into another. And he made loops of blue on the edge of the curtain from the selvage in the coupling. Likewise he made in the uttermost side of another curtain in the coupling of the second. 50 loops made he in one curtain, and 50 loops made he in the edge of the curtain, which was in the coupling of the second. The loops held one curtain to another. And he made 50 taches of gold, and coupled curtains one unto another with the taches, so it became one tabernacle. And he made curtains of goat's hair for the tent over the tabernacle. 11 curtains he made them. The length of one curtain was 30 cubits, and 4 cubits was the breadth of one curtain. And the 11 curtains were of one size. And he coupled 5 curtains by themselves, and 6 curtains by themselves. And he made 50 loops upon the uttermost edge of the curtain in the coupling, and 50 loops he made upon the edge of the curtain which coupled the second. He made 50 taches of brass to couple the tents together, that it might be one. And he made a covering of all the tents. He made a covering for all the tents of rams' skins dyed red, and covering of badger skins above that. And he made boards from the tabernacle of shittim wood, standing up. And the length of the board was 10 cubits, and the breadth of the board was 1 cubit and a half. And one board had 2 tenons equally distant from one another. Thus he did make all the boards of the tabernacle. And he made boards of the tabernacle, 20 boards for the south side, southward. And 40 sockets of silver he made under the 20 boards, 2 sockets under one board for his 2 tenons, and 2 sockets under another board for his 2 tenons. And for the other side of the tabernacle, which toward the north corner, he made 20 boards. And there are 40 sockets of silver, 2 sockets under one board, and 2 sockets under another board. And for the sides of the tabernacle westward he made 6 boards, and 2 boards he made for the corners of the tabernacle in 2 sides. And they were coupled beneath and coupled together, and at the end of thereof to one ring. Thus he did to both of them in both the corners. And there were 8 boards, and their sockets were 16 sockets of silver, under every board 2 sockets. And he made bars of shittim wood, 5 for the boards on one side of the tabernacle, and 5 for the boards of the other side of the tabernacle, and 5 bars for the boards of the tabernacle for the sides westward. And he made the middle of the bar to shoot through the boards from one end to the other. And he overlaid the boards with the gold, and made their rings of gold to be places for the bars, and overlaid the bars with gold. And he made a veil of blue, purple, and scarlet, and fine twined linen. With cherubims he made and with cherubims made he it of cunning work. And he made thereunto 4 pillars of shittim wood, and overlaid them with gold. Their hooks were of gold, and he cast for them 4 sockets of silver. And he made hanging for the tabernacle door of blue and purple and scarlet, and fine twined linen of needlework, and the 5 pillars of it with their hooks. And he overlaid their chapiters and their fillets with gold, but their 5 sockets were of brass. And Bezalel made the ark of shittim wood. 2 cubits and a half was the length of it, and a cubit and a half of the breadth of it, and a cubit and a half the height of it. And he overlaid it with pure gold within and without, and he made a crown of gold to go round about it. And he cast it for 4 rings of gold to be set by the 4 corners of it, and 2 rings upon one side of it, and 2 rings upon the other side of it. He made staves of shittim wood, and overlaid them with gold. And he put the staves into the rings by the sides of the ark to bear the ark. And he made the mercy seat of pure gold. 2 cubits and a half was the length thereof, and then 1 cubit and a half the breadth thereof. And he made 2 cherubims of gold, beaten out of one piece made he them on the 2 ends of the mercy seat, 1 cherubim on the end of the side, on the end on it this side, and 1 cherubim on the other end on that side. And out of the mercy seat made he the cherubims on the 2 ends thereof. And the cherubim spread out their wings on high, and covered with their wings over the mercy seat, with their faces one to another, even to the mercy seatward their faces of the cherubims. And he made the table of shittim wood. 2 cubits was the length thereof, and a cubit the breadth thereof, and a cubit and a half the height thereof. And he overlaid it with pure gold, and made unto the crown of gold round about. And he made thereunto a border of a handbreadth round about. He made a crown of gold for the border there round about, and the cast for it. And he cast for it 4 rings of gold. And he put rings upon the 4 corners that were in the 4 feet thereof. Over against the border were the rings, the places for the staves to bear the table. And he made the staves of shittim wood, and overlaid them with gold to bear the table. And he made the vessels which were upon the table, and his dishes, and his spoons, and his bowls, and his covers, to cover withal of pure gold. And he made the candlestick of pure gold, of beaten work made he the candlestick, his shaft and his branch, his bowls, his knops, and his flowers were the same. And 6 branches going out of the sides thereof, 3 branches of the candlestick out of the one side thereof, and 3 branches of the candlestick out of the other side thereof. 3 bowls made after the fashion of almonds, and in one branch the knop and the flower, and 3 bowls made like almonds, in one another branch a knop and a flower. So throughout the 6 branches going out of the candlestick, and in the candlestick were 4 bowls made like almonds, his knops and his flowers, and a knop under 2 branches of the same, and a knop under 2 branches of the same, and a knop under 2 branches of the same, according to the 6 branches going out of it. Their knops and their branches were of all the same, and all of it was one beaten work of pure gold. And he made his 7 lamps, and his snuffers and his snuff dishes of pure gold. Of talent of pure gold made he it, and of all the vessels thereof. And he made the incense altar of the shittim wood, and the length of it was a cubit, and the breadth of it was a cubit, and it was foursquare, and 2 cubits was the height thereof. Was the height of it. The horns thereof were the same, and he overlaid it with pure gold, both the top of it and the sides thereof round about it, and the horns of it also he made unto a crown of gold round about it. And he made 2 rings of gold for it under the crown thereof, and by the 2 corners of it, upon the two sides thereof, to be places for the staves to bear withal. And he made the staves of shittim wood, and overlaid them with gold. And he made the holy anointing oil and pure incense of sweet spices, according to the work of the apothecary. And he made the altar of burnt offering of shittim wood, and 5 cubits was the length thereof, and 5 cubits was the breadth thereof, and it was foursquare, and 3 cubits the height thereof. And he made the horns thereof on the 4 corners of it, and the horns thereof were of the same, and he overlaid it with brass. And he made all the vessels of the altars, the pots, and the shovels, and the basins, and the flesh hooks, and the fire pans, and the vessels thereof made he of brass. And he made for the altar a brazen grate of network under the compass thereof, breadth unto the midst of it. Excuse me. And he cast 4 rings for the 4 ends of the grate of brass, to be places for the staves. And he made the staves of shittim wood, and overlaid them with brass. And he put the staves into the rings on the sides of the altar, to bear it withal. And he made an altar hollow with boards. And he made the laver of brass, and the foot of it brass. And he looked, and of the looking glasses of the woman assembling, with which he assembled at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. And he made the court on the south side. On the side southward, the hangings of the court were fine twined linen, and 100 cubits. The pillars were 20, and their brazen sockets 20, and the hooks of the pillars and their fillets were of silver. And the north side of the hangings were 100 cubits, and their pillars were 20, and their sockets of brass 20. The hooks of the pillars and their fillets of silver. And for the west side were hanging 50 cubits, their pillars 10, and their sockets 10, the hooks of the pillars and their fillets of silver. For the east side eastward 50 cubits. And the hangings of the one side of the gate were 15 cubits, their pillars 3, and their sockets 3. And for the other side of the court gate, on his hand and that hand, were hangings of 15 cubits, their pillars 3, and their sockets 3. All the hangings of the court were round about were of fine twined linen, and the sockets for the pillars were of brass. The hooks of the pillars and the fillets of silver. The hooks of the pillars and their fillets of silver, and overlaying of their chapters of silver. And all the pillars of the court were filleted with silver. And the hanging of the gate for the court was needlework of blue and purple and scarlet and fine twined linen, and a cubit was the length, and the height, and the breadth was 5 cubits, answerable to the hangings of the court. And the pillars were 4, and their sockets of brass 4, and their hooks of silver, and their overlaying the chapters of their fillets of silver. And all the pins of the tabernacle and of the court round about were of brass. This is the sum of the tabernacle. even of the tabernacle of testimony, as it was counted according to the commandment of Moses for the service of the Levites by the hand of Ithamar, the son of Aaron the priest, the son to Aaron the priest. And Bezaleel, the son of Uri, the son of Hur, of the tribe of Judah, made all the Lord commanded Moses. And with him was Aholiab, the son of Ahisamach, of the tribe of Dan, an engraver, and a cunning workman, an embroiderer in blue and purple and scarlet and fine linen. Sorry. All the gold that was occupied for the work, and all the work of the holy place, even the gold of the offering, which was 29 talents, and 730 shekels after the shekel of the sanctuary. And the silver of them that were numbered of the congregation was 100 talents, and 1,703 shekels after the shekel of the sanctuary. A bekah for every man, that is, a half shekel after the shekel of the sanctuary, for every one that went into to be numbered from the 20 years old and upward, for 603,550 men. And of the 100 talents of silver were cast the sockets of the sanctuary, and the sockets of the veil, and 100 sockets of the 100 talents, a talent for a socket. And of the 1,775 shekels that he made hooks for the pillars, and overlaid their capiters, and filleted them. And of the brass of the offering was 70 talents, and 2,400 shekels. And therewith he made the sockets to the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and the brazen altar, and the brazen gate for it, and all the vessels of the altar, and the sockets of the court round about, and the sockets of the court gate, and all the pins of the tabernacle, and all the pins of the court round about. And of the blue and purple and scarlet they made cloths of service, to do service in the holy place, and made the holy garments for Aaron, as the Lord commanded Moses. And he made an ephod of gold and blue and purple and scarlet and fine twined linen. And they did beat the gold into the plates, and cut it into wires, and to work it in the blue, and in the purple, and in the scarlet, and in the fine linen with cunning work. They made shoulder pieces for it to couple together. By the two edges was it coupled together. Curious girdle of his ephod that was upon it was the same, according to the work thereof, of the gold, the blue, and purple, and scarlet, the fine twined linen, as the Lord commanded Moses. And they wrought onyx stones enclosed in the ouches of gold, graven signets are graven with the names of the children of Israel. And he put them on the shoulders of the ephod, that they should be stones for a memorial to the children of Israel, as the Lord commanded Moses. And he made the breastplate of cunning work, like the work of the ephod, of gold and blue and purple and scarlet, of fine twined linen. It was foursquare. They made the breastplate double. A span was the length thereof, and a span the breadth thereof, being doubled. And they set in it 4 rows of stones. The first row was sardius and topaz and a carbuncle. This was the first row. The second row was an emerald, a sapphire, and a diamond. The third row a liguri, an agate, and an amethyst. And the fourth row a beryl, an onyx, and a jasper. And they were enclosed in ouches of gold in their enclosings. And the stones were according to the names of the children of Israel, 12 according to their names, like the engravings of a signet, every one with his name, according to the 12 tribes. And they made upon the breastplate chains at the ends, wreathen work of pure gold. And they made 2 ouches of gold, and 2 gold rings, and put the 2 rings in the 2 ends of the breastplate. and they put the 2 writhen chains of gold in the 2 rings of the ends of the breastplate. And the 2 ends of the 2 writhen chains they fastened in the 2 ouches and put them on the shoulder pieces of the ephod before it. And they made 2 rings of gold and put them on the 2 ends of the breastplate upon the border of it, which was the side of the ephod inward. And they made 2 other golden rings and put them on the 2 sides of the ephod underneath, toward the part of it over against the other coupling thereof, above the curious girdle of the ephod. And they did bind the breastplate by his rings unto the rings of the ephod with a lace of blue, that it might be above the curious girdle of the ephod, and that the breastplate might not be loosened from the ephod, as the Lord commanded Moses. And he made the robe of the ephod of woven work, all of the blue, and there was a hole in the midst of the robe, as the hole of an habergeon, with a band round about the hole, that it should not rend. And they made upon the hems of the robe pomegranates of blue, and purple and scarlet, and twined linen. That they made bells of pure gold, and put the bells between the pomegranates upon the hem of the robe, round about between the pomegranates, a bell and a pomegranate, round about the hem of the robe, to minister in, as the Lord commanded Moses. And they made coats of fine linen of woven work for Aaron and his sons, and a mitre of fine linen, and goodly bonnets of fine linen, and a linen breeches of fine twined linen, and a girdle of fine twined linen, blue and purple and scarlet, of the needlework, as the Lord commanded Moses. And they made the plate of the holy crown of pure gold, and wrote upon it writing like unto the engravings of a signet, holiness to the Lord. And they tied unto it a lace of blue, and to fasten it on high upon the mitre, as the Lord commanded Moses. Thus all the work of the tabernacle of the tent of the congregation finished, and the children of Israel did according to all that the Lord commanded Moses, so did they. And they brought the tabernacle unto Moses' tent, and all the furniture, and his taches, his boards, his bars, and his pillars, and his sockets, and the coverings of ram skins dyed red, the covering of badger skins, and the veil of the covering, the ark of the testimony, and the staves thereof, and the mercy seat, the table, and all the vessels thereof, and the showbread, the pure candlestick with the lamps thereof, even with the lamps to be set in order, and all the vessels thereof, and the light for oil light, and all the vessels thereof, and the oil for light, the golden altar, and the anointing oil, and the sweet incense, and the hanging for the tabernacle door, the brazen altar, and his grate for brass, his staves, and all his vessels, the laver for his foot, the hangings of the court, his pillars, and his sockets, and the hanging for the court gate, his cords, and his pins, and all the vessels of the service of the tabernacle for the tent of the congregation, the cloths of service to do service in the holy place, and the holy garments for Aaron the priest, and his sons' garments to minister in the priest's office. According to all the Lord had commanded Moses, so the children of Israel made all the work. And Moses did look upon the work, and behold, they had done it as the Lord had commanded. Even so had they done it, and Moses blessed them. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, On the first day of the month thou shalt set up the tabernacle of the tent of the congregation, and thou shalt put therein the ark of the testimony, and cover the ark with a veil. And thou shalt bring in the table, and set in the order of the things that are to be set in order upon it. And thou shalt bring a candlestick, and light the lamps thereof. And thou shalt set the altar of gold for the incense before the ark of the testimony, and put the hanging door of the door to the tabernacle. And thou shalt set the altar of the burnt offering before the door of the tabernacle of the tent of the congregation. And thou shalt set the laver between the tent and of the congregation and the altar, and shalt put water therein, And thou shalt set up the court round about, and hang up the hanging at the court gate. And thou shalt take the anointing oil, and anoint the tabernacle, and all that there is, and all that is therein, and shall hallow it, and all the vessels thereof, and it shall be holy. And thou shalt anoint the altar of the burnt offering, and all his vessels, and sanctify the altar. It shall be an altar most holy. And thou shalt anoint the laver and his foot, and sanctify it. And thou shalt bring Aaron and his sons unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and wash them with water. And thou shalt put upon Aaron the holy garments, and anoint him, and sanctify him, that he may minister unto me in the priest's office. And thou shalt bring his sons, and clothe them with coats, and thou shalt anoint them as thou didst anoint their father, that they may minister unto me in the priest's office, for their anointing shall surely be an everlasting priesthood throughout their generations. Thus did Moses, according to all that the Lord commanded him. So did he. And it came to pass in the first month, in the second year, on the first day of the month, that the tabernacle was reared up. And Moses reared up the tabernacle, and fastened his sockets, and set up the boards thereof, and put in the bars thereof, and reared up his pillars. And he spread abroad the tent over the tabernacle, and put the covering of the tent above upon it, as the Lord commanded Moses. And he took and put the testimony into the ark, and set the staves on the ark, and put the mercy seat upon the ark. And he brought the ark into the tabernacle, and set up the veil of the covering, and covered the ark of the testimony, as the Lord commanded Moses. And he put the table in the tent of the congregation upon the side of the tabernacle onward, without the veil. And he set the bread in order upon it before the Lord, as the Lord had commanded Moses. And he put the candlestick in the tent of the congregation, over against the table, on the side of the tabernacle southward. And he lighted the lamps before the Lord, as the Lord commanded Moses. And he put the golden altar in the tent of the congregation before the veil. And he burnt sweet incense thereon, as the Lord commanded Moses. And he set up the hanging at the door of the tabernacle. And he put the altar of burnt offering by the door of the tabernacle of the tent of the congregation, and offered it upon the burnt offering and the meat offering, as the Lord commanded Moses. And he set the laver between the tent and the congregation, between the tent of the congregation and the altar, and put water there to wash withal. And Moses and Aaron and his sons washed their hands and their feet thereat. And when they went into the tent of the congregation, where they came near to the altar, they washed, as the Lord commanded Moses. And he reared up the court around about the tabernacle and the altar, and he set up hanging of the court gate. So Moses finished the work. Then a cloud covered the tent of the congregation, and the glory of the Lord filled the tabernacle. And Moses was not able to enter into the tent of the congregation, because the cloud abode thereon, and the glory of the Lord filled the tabernacle. And when the cloud was taken up from over the tabernacle, the children of Israel went onward in all their journeys. But if the cloud were not taken up, then they journeyed not until the day that it was taken up. For the cloud of the Lord was upon the tabernacle by day, and fire was on it by night, in the sight of all the house of Israel, throughout all their journeys. That was Exodus 40. You guys have a good day. God bless.